Oh, that is such a bullshit response when they say that too.
Bit base, I think. Isn't that what it's called? The McMurdoch?
I
McMurdo.
think you're thinking McMurdo.
McMurdo. Turn in your globe card.
That's right. Turn in your globe card. You can no longer believe in the globe Earth. You have to believe in convex Earth and Baloo now.
Yeah, McMurdo. That's where they have the
Or
secret
Conte.
Penguin police force stationed at.
All hail be
Penguin Tactical
Right.
Strike Team.
It's where they put their 6,000 ships that continuously patrol around the ice.
Yeah, right.
I was watching a Arn Rod video today, and it almost converted me to Belu. Alternative to the Ark.
Yeah, I had one of my customers that just left is he was just saying everything but being a flat earther. He was trying to tell me that science is all based on observation, and I was like, no. Nope, wrong.
There's
Yeah.
observational science, and that's fuck off.
It's based on predictive models, and we can predict it. We can predict other things in the future based on these models. So yeah, you're wrong. And I was trying to be polite because I didn't want to get a bad review from having to tell the customer he was wrong, but he's wrong.
Yeah, that gets awkward as a customer. I wouldn't even know what to do with that.
Well, I have to. A lot of times, people will bring up like God to me, and I'm just like, if you really want to know about my beliefs, then yeah, I'll tell you. But I prefer not to talk to you about my religious belief. And I always say religious. Go ahead.
I'm there with my family. I just don't even. I'm at. You don't even know where I'm at.
Well, I had like one lady. I had this Muslim lady, and she came in, and I don't discriminate at all. I'm totally Muslim, atheist, Christian, Judaism. Doesn't fucking matter to me whatsoever. Come in, spend your money, enjoy your service, and talk about it with other people. So I said nothing.
With my friend. You know.
Well, I had a cross up, and while I do keep like religious like icons up, I don't necessarily ascribe that I'm saying I believe in them. I'm just saying like it represents a symbol of love to me, you know, whether that's ultimately, whether people take it wrong or not, religion is to those people a symbol of, you know, a love of some creator for for them creating everything, and that's fine. They can believe that. So I did have a cross up, and I also have a picture of Buddha up, and I also have a few other pictures that are just like I had this Japanese woodcut of one of some kind of religious thing they have in their fucking ancient philosophies.
Did you have a colander up?
What's that?
Did you have a colander up?
What's a colander?
You know, where you drain pasta noodles?
Oh, no. I thought you were.
Yeah, may
I
sauce
no,
be
I
upon
didn't have
him.
a colander. I do know what a colander is on that description. I thought you were talking about some kind of religious thing. I was like, yeah, no, I don't think I do.
Yeah.
But she was like
Define spaghetti
more
monster.
Muslims. She was like more Muslims would come here if oh crap. He's like more Muslims would come here if you took down those crosses. And I was like, yeah,
that's
but
not gonna happen.
less Christians.
Yeah,
would
run the
come,
numbers on that.
here in yeah, exactly. In America, it's more conducive for us to put, signs of Christianity up, whether we believe it or not, just because it makes people feel more comfortable when their experience is all about them. It has nothing to do with me. I shouldn't bogart their experience with my religious beliefs. So I just put up like I've actually had Christians saying, would you please take that false god out of my float room? Because I have a little statue of Buddha in each float room. They asked me that. Would you take that false idol out of the float room? And more than one Christian has asked me that.
Let me ask you this, you guys. This
That's
because,
interesting.
There's nobody else I can ask. So my parents, they literally believe that if I don't believe, then I will burn in hell for eternity. So I cannot tell them that I don't believe, because that would condemn them to your child is going to burn in hell. So what do I do?
Well, I'm all for lying to somebody to make them feel better. Maintaining your belief is only the thing that you need to be responsible for. If you feel like you need to tell them because that would make you more spiritually sound, then you tell them. But if you feel like them not knowing your beliefs is going to make them happier, then I don't see why you would feel a need to tell them.
That's exactly where I just wanted to know if I was in the right spot.
Yeah, so I talked about this a little bit on the Non Sequitur show. I was talking about how prayer is really a form of meditation. Like if you look in most religious texts, they talk about looking inward, praying inward, being silent, and not speaking out loud when you pray, but speaking inside. God doesn't listen when you say, hey, God, do this. God listens when you put your hands together, you close your eyes and you say, God, help me, or God, fix this problem, or whatever. We express it out loud because of the emotion that builds up inside of us. That's why we're like, oh, Jesus, oh, Lord, why? That's what happens there. So I don't feel like I don't feel like prayer and meditation are two different things. I think they are pretty much the exact same thing. You're still looking for a God that resides within. You're still looking for the spiritual being that resides within you.
Well, then I have another question for you. I tried to listen to that show through my headphones while I was cutting grass, and it kept kicking over to another show every time I tried. So, answer that.
Oh, you're talking about Non Sequitur?
Yeah. Every time I tried to listen to it saying that, it kicked over to the show. So was that Jesus?
They
you
missed.
were praying to the wrong God.
No, they messed something up on their settings where, because I was listening to that show live, and I noticed I fell asleep shortly after, or towards the end, and I woke up like a couple hours later, and I look at my screen, and it still had the same title from before, but it had the waiting screen for their next show that they were doing.
Right.
So they
don't create a separate stream every single time for some reason.
They should.
Okay.
And
so
I think no, it wasn't just you. And
I think so too.
And I think what happened is, well, like me, so the way I have this set up, there's YouTube has stream keys, so they can encode it for whichever show you're actually doing. So, like, I have an encoder set up just dedicated for this show right here, for Veterans Talk Weekly. I have a second stream code for any other Hangouts that I want to do. So when I go ahead and go live on this, I shouldn't have to do anything on YouTube, and it automatically auto-populates everything from the description, the title, date, time, all of it. But YouTube just screwed up, and I had to manually go in and redo everything. So that could be what happened with Non Sequitur.
Well,
Yeah, somebody has a question. Is the hair?
Let it go.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Let's not let it go unsaid that Jared didn't care enough to stay awake during Father Skeptic's appearance.
Dude, I was running at being awake for 23 hours after 2 hours sleep. And lots of alcohol, Excuses. Hey, it wasn't mission critical.
They did tell me.
Aren't you the young one?
Well, I think that they're going to bring me back on to talk on simulation hypothesis with Steve. We're also going to talk about, I think they invited me on to a Flat Earth roast that they're going to be doing July 13th.
Yeah, that should be interesting.
Yeah, and
please let it be as dumpster fire-ish as it was when Aaron Ra went on Kent Hovind, and later on when he left, Jim Hans
His first name was John.
Quick story, which that seems to be a theme with me. When I joined the Navy, my dad had been at the Newport News shipyard for decades. And he said, well, don't go to the Enterprise because they were currently overhauling it. And he knew what a shit show it was. Guess what my first deployment was?
So
I was on it.
Thing is,
I was on it, and it was the shit show that he said.
I've done 4 cruises, and they've all been on the Enterprise.
Ooh.
Well, when the what was it? The Enterprise and the Nimitz went into a shipyard period for an upkeep, and it was there for 4 years.
Yeah, and that's when my dad worked there. He worked on. Enterprise is bad. Oh, the shitty kitty.
Don't show your age on that one. Nah. Did it really?
I did a tour of the America when I was in depth. That was held together by duct tape and bubble gum.
Yeah, I always make the joke that if we ever spilled a large can of paint thinner, the ship would fall apart. Rust and paint, all those ships are held on to.
Yeah, rust, paint,
prayer. That was one of my jokes. I said if the Russians ever want to defeat the U.S. Navy, all they have to do is find some aerosol that dissolves duct tape.
Yep.
Acetone would do it. Well, I know that. Yeah, the duct tape. Acetone.
My boat was new when I got to it. It didn't have any issues with the kits.
Yeah, well, lucky you.
Well, I mean, you guys heard about the issues they had on the Bush. The bathroom system was so bad that they couldn't find out which bathroom they could use and which bathroom they couldn't. Like, they'd go to bed and they'd wake up having to take a piss, and half the bathrooms would be locked up.
Yeah, right.
They sent one kid to mass because he couldn't find a bathroom, so he went out to the catwalk and took a piss off the side of the ship. Told the skipper he couldn't find a bathroom.
I did that.
I should say we had no critical issues. We did have some bugs.
Even really knew that was a bad thing.
And we did have some issues with this experimental launcher system we had aboard, but we never really used it. So
Everything's experimental.
we had the boat when it came out of the shipyard had 5-inch launchers that were mounted in its dihedrals. So
The boat I'm on now has got experimental chicken. Now I'm on the Lincoln, and that thing's.
You almost said something naughty?
Yeah. Well, I mean, the fort just got built, and they can't even go out to sea without breaking. Yeah.
Hey guys, I gotta take care of dinners. I'll come back in like 20 minutes. I'm not gonna log
they
off.
have so many new
Just gonna mute.
And they have so many new experimental, systems on the Ford that it's probably be a while before we really see it doing anything.
Well, we took out the F-35s for the first time, and those things are if you see those things in the air, you're dead. The things they got on there is ridiculous. I like they have a 365 camera on that damn thing. I couldn't believe it. It was something amazing to see, but they were so precise that when we finished catching the F-35s, we had to repair one patch on the flight deck because they kept all hitting the same spot.
Oh,
wow.
Oh, that's right. They're using the new ACLS, so I guess they didn't carry over the error from the old one.
Oh, you should have seen it though, because one of them broke its tail hook, and I didn't even know we had that many civilians on board. Came running to the flight deck or to the hangar bay to go take pictures of the broken tail hook, and just looking at each other like this isn't supposed to happen. And I'm just like, welcome to the rest of the Navy. You know?
Here's a funny thing. At my company, we have a contract with the FAA, and we're trying to develop the new course for the ILS students, and nobody can comprehend the math, so they brought me on board.
Oh, God.
And I'm bumping up against the extent of the math that I understand. So,
well, I'm an AO, so we're done
Damn.
at 3, right?
I was an FT. My entire job was maths.
Yeah.
That's rare. And Americans that can speak English. Say maths instead of math.
All right, I'm back, guys.
They had me go into a conference room with all of the developers and explain to them why math is important. That was an hour of my day to tell the other course developers why math is important. And I started with
Damn.
I started with Aristophanes. 2,000 years ago, he figured out the radius of the Earth, and today we can still use that equation, which was 600 years ago before English. So that's what I started with.
I think you should have started with, you're asking a dumb question, and
What the fuck are you
if
even
you
doing
subtract-
in here?
if you subtract your paycheck that you should be earning, not asking what's important about math,
Yeah, we can just take away whatever we want from your paycheck since you can't figure it out. You'll just assume that it's correct, and we now have your money.
Well, to be fair, a lot of my coworkers have education degrees. They have a master's in education, and when they run into a course that has a lot of math, they're just like, let's just forget that part. And that's why I'm on the team.
Yeah, but those F-30, I still agree though. Those F-35s are something to be feared.
Yeah. Which ones are those?
Kind of noisy.
Those are the ones, the Raptors, the new ones.
Yeah, I saw a video where it had like 5 experienced what's the one F-18? They had 5 experienced F-18 Super Hornets, and they all were taken down by one F-35 experienced F-35 pilot.
Well,
22. The 22 is the Raptor.
Yeah.
35 is Lightning too.
Oh, maybe it was.
Yeah.
Maybe they were talking about the Raptor and not the Lightning.
JSF.
No, it's
Joint
the
Strike
Lightning.
Fighter. F-35 is a strike fighter. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, and it's the camera is connected to the heads-up display of the helmet, and so if the pilot wants to know what's underneath him, he just looks down.
Oh yeah, that's right. He has a 360 by
I saw that.
360 view. Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
And the camera
Literally.
turns on. It's something that's fucking like I was afraid to touch it. I was like, that's my fingerprint. Maybe we should wipe it off. I just be that guy that fucking runs his hand across the panel and it falls off, and I'm like, oh, I'm going up to see the man on this one.
The Joint Strike Fighter is a monster, and it's funny because I was in E5 when they first started talking about we're going to develop this Joint Strike Fighter, and I'm long retired, and it's now just coming into fruition.
Well, the RAF got its first deliveries of F-35s 2 weeks ago at RAF Marham, which is about 40 miles from where I live. It's only 10 years late.
Who's the manufacturer? Is it Boeing?
It's
I believe
Lockheed Martin,
Lockheed.
British
Is it Lockheed
Aerospace.
Martin?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a whole documentary about that whole fight because they it was in contention for so long that they made a documentary about it.
Yeah, well, the Americans wanted to cancel it, but found they couldn't because they were in too deep with the Brits and the Australians and several other people who'd also ordered it.
Oh yeah, if it was entirely a
But you
U.S.
couldn't-
venture, we would have scrapped the F-35 years ago.
Because it was stupid expensive.
Well, really, honestly, I think that there was nothing wrong with the F-14.
Except the maintenance hours
Except the
per
F-
flight hour.
Right,
That
right.
is the only reason why they retired it.
You're right.
And
you're
and
absolutely
also
right.
that-
because it's fucking heavy too. I mean,
Oh no, it had nothing to
be
do with the
honest.
weight or performance. Once the F-14 got the proper engine in it in the Super Tomcat version, it could do everything it was designed to do. The problem became the overall life of the airframe, the cost to procure parts, and the maintenance cost per flight hour. That's all that killed it. If it was if it was purely performance, that beautiful thing would still have been in the air up until a year or two ago.
Yeah, they said that
Go
they
ahead.
said that for every hour that it flew, it had 3 hours of maintenance that you had to do
Let me wait
just to keep
in
it up.
real fast. Every aircraft gets decommed because of cost per hour. The A6, I was on the last deployment of the A6, and that thing is a monster. It rained down bombs, and the F-14 was also just a monster. But the cost per flight hour, the math didn't work.
Oh, absolutely. It just seems to me like if you have a model to base your performance off, like the F-14 was, dominance in the air. Why don't you just build a better F-14? Why did you have to go to the Super Hornet? Which
They
I
didn't.
still
They
think
went to the
is-
F-16 first, and then they went to the Super Hornet.
Well, no,
they went to the Hornet.
The F,
They
yeah.
went to the Hornet first.
And then the
Well,
Super Hornet.
Well, and they
Yeah.
went to the Hornet in response not just to the F-14. They were looking at it as replacing the F-8 and
A6.
the A6. It was both of them that they
Right.
were replacing with the Hornet, and they picked the Hornet because they liked the twin engine better than the F-16 that it actually competed against for the Air Force's intercept fighter program. That's where the Hornet came from.
You can't have a single engine over the ocean.
F-35.
Yeah, that's it.
You shouldn't
yeah.
have a single engine over the ocean, but the Navy got shafted with the F-35 in that way.
Yeah, that was.
So you know that, and I asked the question at F-35 of what engine they're carrying, and they said that it's almost identical to the F-14's engine, the 404 or 401.
Yeah, I can't remember
that
which
it?
one's in it.
I think it's the 401. The
think it's
404
Pratt
is
Whitney.
is in the Hornet, but the 401. They said it's almost like the mechanics of it, everything. If you're a mech, you could have walked right in there and fixed any problem that the engine had on it. If you had worked on the Hornet.
I love that that tattoos picture that pops up in the stream.
Yeah, as soon as I saw that from Jay Brown,
Oh,
I had to put that into the slideshow folder.
Hey, Alan,
You're welcome, guys.
are you Air Force, Alan?
Yes, I was.
You were? Okay, we'll try to keep the Air Force
And
to
I was
a
a-
minimum.
Well, he was RAF,
Hey.
not U.S. Air Force.
Okay, so we'll just every
Yeah.
time we
RAF
talk
is more
Air Force.
respectable.
Yeah, the first and the original.
So our Air Force
Hello.
is
As we are now over 100 years old.
our Air Force is
Yeah, one of
good.
the oldest air forces, if I remember correctly, right?
It was the. I think Sweden instituted a independent air arm in the March when when the RAF was formed on the 1st of April. However, the Act of Parliament that instituted the Royal Air Force was actually passed in November 1917. It was just they waited to form the Air Force for the start of the new financial year.
Yeah, I
Well,
just looked it up.
our-
It says, sorry?
And then go ahead, please.
Okay. Now, according to Wikipedia, the British Royal Air Force was the first independent air force in the world. The RAF was founded on April 1st, 1918,
Yes.
by
Yes.
amalgamation.
Amalgamation of the Royal
Yeah.
Flying Corps and the Royal Naval Air Service.
Yeah, but the British Army Royal Flying Corps and the Royal Navy, Naval Air,
Yes.
Air Service. Sorry.
Royal Naval Air Service.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, and, as far as
the
I
Royal-
understand, our the United States service industry founded our Air Force in the 50s.
I think the United States Air Force became an independent branch in 1947.
It
47,
broke away from the Army, right?
47 or 48. Yeah, they were the Army Air Corps prior to that.
Right.
Yeah,
Right,
or the
I-
Army Air
And I
Force.
think I think it was Marriott that did that, or it may have been Sears Roebuck.
Right. Hey, Anthony, let me ask you a question because you're still in. So, what if you get an opportunity to be a part of the Space Force? Will you take it?
No, absolutely
What?
not.
You're a jackass.
What? Why not?
Because if they, well, hold on. If they change the name, I'll
What do they have to
consider it.
call it? You're a Call of Duty guy. What do they have to call it? You played enough Black Ops 2 and Black Ops 3 to have
Nah,
that futuristic.
and
feel,
no
so-
Black Ops game have I ever played in space.
Okay, so what would they need to call the Space Force?
It's got to be something better. I mean, good lord. I could call my 11-year-old son in the room and say, "Give me a name for a military force that goes into outer space." He would come up with
What
a
if he
better
says
name.
Stormtroopers?
It's better than fucking Space Force.
You'd be okay with Stormtroopers?
I would be okay with a lot more than Space Force. And I'm sorry, I just don't make a new branch of military. Redevelop NASA. Get the people back in there and use what we already have.
Well, NASA's I did a lot of research on this one. NASA's actually a zero profit company or nonprofit.
They're an independent.
Yeah, well, they everything they do
What can I say?
has it doesn't result in any profit for themselves. They advance nothing but science. So it would be kind of hard to militarize
That's
that
a damn
force.
lie.
Yeah, I know,
That's
right?
Damn. Just saying.
So,
Fuck my
let me
dick.
ask you something. Almost
Suck my
let's
balls.
say 70% of NASA gets their funding from the government because we funded them to go out and figure out what's going on outside this earth. Cool, get it. Buy out NASA. Utilize what we already have. And I mean, I'm sorry that NASA actually has a section of Langley Air Force Base to them. If I go on
That's
Langley,
like 30
I see
miles from me.
that's like
Check it out.
5 miles from me. And
That means
I just-
45 miles
he
from
crawls
That-
crawls from home to work in the snow up hills both ways.
what the problem is,
Life.
I'm so confused on what you're trying to say right now, dude.
You have a hard life.
It's
I
a
do.
hard knock life. For...
I got to get up in the morning at 5:30 when you're sleeping. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh shit! 5:30.
5:30.
5:30. I am still awake from some of the shit I'm doing.
Right. Me too.
Yeah, Friday.
Oh yeah. Well,
So,
especially Saturday mornings, I'm still awake at 5:30, drunk as fucking shit, but I'm still awake.
Can you call that awake?
Well, it's your eyes
Call
are
the
still
drunk
open.
stupor.
Yeah, that's
Tell
what-
that girl that's on top of you to tell you what time it is.
So I think they should.
Oh, that, I,
Give it
I,
a
I,
better
I
name
apologize.
than
I
Space
was assuming that was a girl.
We're far enough. We're
Oh.
far enough.
It's female. Maybe.
Don't
Didn't want to assume anything.
don't tell, Anthony. Don't tell.
Don't
even,
ask.
Even
don't
when they
tell.
ask, don't tell. No,
No,
if
she
they
wasn't
ask,
purple.
don't tell.
Red flag. Red flag.
Yes. But no, I just think that it's a great idea. We should always be looking at what are we going to do next. This world's that's Abby Mark.
It's not getting bigger.
She's a big airman. She was an airman back in the day.
But is it getting flatter, or more rotund?
She's a big girl.
Oh wait, wrong stream.
Saw a picture of her.
Yeah, up in that thing.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, she's a very.
Oh, okay.
You okay
So
there?
no, I just wish they would have called it something else. They could have given it a technical name. You could have given it anything else, but just by I don't know.
What if they call it Space Marines? Will you join?
If I get a laser, absolutely.
Oh man, they ain't gonna supply lasers to those people.
I
Can it be something that's not founded by Trump? Like, I'm just gonna throw that out there.
hang on.
I
You're,
think
you're
more
gonna
it's-
make me find the picture.
I think more
yeah,
it's gonna
look.
not be a like a on
So
the
one of the
ground
issues-
type force. It's gonna be more like a submarine force, you know, where they're confined to a spaceship, and they don't really do fighting hand to hand between people. They do fighting more along the lines of like dropping kinetic weapons on other countries, like tactical weapons, just having a dominance in this space.
No, I don't even think they're going to have anything to do with the rest of them. They're not going to have anything. Their main job is to go find what else we can do besides be here. That is what this space dominance. They're going to go out and they're going to try.
I think they're trying to put a military force in space, an actual military force, so that no other so everything is always top down. So you dominate the top, you own the bottom. So that's why right now it's the Air Force.
But wait a minute. But what if the person you're with is a power bottom?
Ooh, that's a good question.
That's a good question.
Again, I'm not even gonna ask.
Again, it's not too dirty for this panel, so go ahead.
Don't make a submarine joke.
So
don't make a submarinade joke.
Isn't everyone on a top?
I don't know. We'd have to ask Jay Brown. Jay Brown, were you a power bottom, or were you a total topper?
He was hot.
Your silence is consent, Jay Brown. Your silence is consent.
The silence is deafening.
If you're the top, you're very busy.
Okay, well.
And with that,
the motto in the submarine service is, "We do not discuss submarine operations."
I thought it was 200 men go down and 100 couples come up.
No, it's 99 couples, a three-way, and someone left out.
And he's fucking.
We do not discuss submarine operations.
You guys are
we had an odd number of crew and officers. How would that work?
Again,
left out.
There would be a three-way.
I'm so happy not to be in that. Yeah, no.
It's just full of nope, like a couple of those pictures that Microblog shared earlier.
That's why we have joint operations to bring you guys in.
Remember the quote marks. Operations.
Yeah.
Yeah. No.
With a capital 0.
Yeah, we say them slow and breathfully.
All right. I'm going to show this, and unfortunately, people in the chat, you're going to have to deal with not being able to see it, but oh well. And presenting. So, you hear there could be this.
Oh, yeah.
But you know deep down.
Yeah, that's how it is. Join the Navy, see the world. Wow, hop in a deck. You can watch it go right by.
This is going to be the real Space Force for the majority of people.
That's true.
You can travel to places. Go ahead.
Hey, wait a minute. Where's the wires?
Right there.
Low gravity wires. Where are they?
During A and C school, we stripped and waxed so many floors that we jokingly referred to FT as floor tech.
Floor tech.
Well, are you sure you didn't mean you stripped down and waxed the floors? That's what you meant, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, obviously.
Woohoo! Yeah, obviously, yes.
Actually, he meant the deck.
Well, that too.
Well, slap me in the ass and call me Andy.
One of my guys asked me if I had any study material for the upcoming exam, and I threw him an order for all the brooms and mops and said, all these nins will be on your test.
Wait, which exam was he going for? Third?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's about right.
You got to know. You got to know the nin for the shredder for second class.
It's weird that I know what a nin is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyone who's had to deal with supply in even a rudimentary way, you.
Are you still running your supply shop?
I was repair parts petty officer for my division.
Well, not just that. So, me being the supervisor of an aviation shop, I had to know the NIN of everything in there. All the Emerald, all the Cal equipment, and our test benches, and the individual parts. Because guess who was doing the cost analysis if something was going to go beyond capability for maintenance?
Oh my
To go to
god.
the lab.
I just left FRC. Those BCMs killed me.
Jared, I understand everything you just said. That means that that says bad things about me.
Well, you were an AT, so I hope you'd remember some of it.
I was a shop soup.
Yeah, exactly. But that was the interesting bit is when they started out that whole BCM for cost bullshit. I was a third class in Florida.
I know what BCM means, which is like, oh.
The sad part is, I still remember some of the codes.
I do too.
I don't remember none of my shit. It's been too long.
Sometimes
because you were in an 80 for
Jared.
Yeah, the
it's painful.
Most of the stuff we needed at our little command was like spider killer spray. We'd always have to go fucking know the most oddball fucking part numbers that we'd have to order. Like what the fuck's the part number for fucking spider killer spray?
Yeah. See the
art of not mixing up NSN numbers.
The mantra became beast.
All I'm saying is if Jared both disappear on the same day, just
shit would ensue.
Yeah. There.
Yeah. No. Just leave that one alone. See, and what's... Oh. I know you'll get a kick out of this. Where is it? Alright, I didn't put it into the slideshow because it's only applicable to people who had to deal with this system.
Now, Comus.
Yes.
Now, Comus. Oh my...
So, this one I am opening up to... actually, you know what? Let me go here.
Oh, you haven't shown the picture yet? You just guessed at it?
No, they know. They know. That is how bad it is. They know.
Well, I can relate this to what Father Skeptic knows. And I can bridge that gap.
So there was this error message that someone programmed in.
XP loveliness.
Oh no! Cannot communicate with demon.
Look at the
please perform a ritualistic human sacrifice to clear error.
We had just no. There is a story behind this. We were in the middle of our summer deployment, and we had a major issue with the Nalcoma server. So when the admins went in and fixed it, one of them decided he was going to be funny and programmed this error message in until someone caught it. The first time I saw it after they went live, I screenshotted it because I was like, there's no way in hell they're going to believe it.
Did whoever programmed that, was that a civilian?
No, it was one of our IT guys. One of the actual IT
nice.
Oh, and it was a friend of mine, so I gave him hints. He also helped me with... Come on. This one. So, he changed... no, go back. There we go. He changed the operation to get child.
What does it say? Oh, get child.
Yeah, so there was an error in pulling up a specific part of a map, and I told and it had been renamed Get Child. So in my boredom, I was like, what the fuck is this? And why did it fail? And I sent this off in an email to the Nalcomas admin, production control, and the division office, because it's like, hey, they need to know why this math isn't closed out. Well, I got this error. I put nothing else to it. I just sent this along.
So some senior chief is looking at this like, what WTF?
What in the actual fuck? Yeah. But the kicker, the bonus is, even though the actual command structure kind of sucked on the Kitty Hawk, the immediate leadership that I dealt with had a sense of humor and enjoyed when we found shit like this.
Nice.
You can't do that now.
No.
No.
Oh my god. We had.
I've got a quick story. From 2 years before. I was on the Ike in '96, and we had a Chinese kid. He was ATA and he knew computers like nobody's business. Way better than the ITs did down in the computer lab.
Yep.
So he gave us all internet access. This is like way back at the beginning of, but you just didn't have computer access back then, unless you were a chief or an officer. And so he found a workaround to give us access. So they discovered it and they blocked us. So he found their workaround and he blocked them. The ITs. Yeah.
Nice.
And yeah. So we had access, they didn't. And finally they came to him, this little Chinese kid, and they said, hey, can you help us figure out what we got going on here? And he said, yeah. If you give me and my friends access. And they said, okay.
The ransom
so we
starts.
had, yeah. Because otherwise he wasn't going to do it. And he went down there and said, you're routing this wrong, you're routing that wrong. Like, he fixed all their shit. And we had internet access for the rest of the deployment when only E7 and above had it otherwise.
So the ship I'm on right now, I've only been on for about a year. There have been 6 officers on restriction, and 1 senior chief, and 3 chiefs on restriction.
Wow.
Before this command, I have never seen a chief or officer on restriction.
I have.
What command is that?
The Enterprise.
On the Lincoln?
Oh, the Lincoln, yeah. And before that, the Enterprise. Yeah, on the Kitty Hawk, when I was over in Japan, in the 2.5, almost 3 years I was there, there were 4 khakis who were on pseudo restriction, to where
Pseudo?
they weren't officially punished, but motherfuckers weren't leaving the boat. Not even when we were in our home port.
That's what they kind of did for us. They, like, you can't leave, but you can't tell anybody that you can't leave.
Yeah.
So the chief, the chiefs and the senior chief that are on restriction, they actually run the restriction muster. The MAs are like, hey, we just sit off to the side, and you can hand us the book after everybody signs. The officers go to the wardroom, and they muster with the CDO of the day.
No, all officers don't muster.
Yeah, they were like, well, we don't we don't want to show the fact that, we're putting officers on restriction. I'm like, but you're okay with putting a senior chief on restriction.
It's semantics. We don't muster, we assemble.
It's politics.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Actually,
I understand it, but I don't agree with. Don't parade around a chief or a senior chief or an officer. They need to go. I'm okay with the chiefs going to the chief's mess to muster, and the officers going to the wardroom to muster, and then the E6 and below going to the hangar bay to muster. But I just don't like the fact. I'm not a fan of seeing someone that supposedly that a lot of people look up to.
It's supposed to be a leader.
Chest and mustering with the same sailor who smoked weed.
agreed.
Yeah.
That you'll get no disagreement from me at all.
Apparently didn't have a problem with that in mind. Because one of our, on my first MiG deployment, 2 of our divos and one of the department heads was put on restriction.
Whoa!
Halfway through the
we had a department head on restriction recently because a divo was banging a second class.
Nice.
And the department head knew about it. So the two officers went on restriction, but you never knew they were on restriction. One of them was on restriction for like 6 hours, and then he was transferred. The other one was like 3 days, and he was gone.
I got to go drain it, but I can come back and tell you 100 stories about officers who were in trouble.
Oh yeah, and I got
Tons of them.
Perfect
Tons of
for
them
this
get in
stream.
trouble. The crew barely hears about it.
Yeah, I know.
We
got a divo
Through unofficial channels.
and nobody even knew about it because
That's just fucking stupid.
Hey, you're talking about some guy programming a computer. My first ship was a carrier. This was like in 1984. We had Zenith computers. We had GW Basic. And remember a little video game called Lunar Lander?
Yes.
I wrote a text version of that on the Zenith. And the guys on duty would play it for hours. And it was on an old green screen. And they just fried the hell out of that green screen. There were these big black streaks where all the, this is your altitude, your vertical speed, horizontal speed, distance to the landing site.
Yeah.
You guys got good.
What the fuck are you doing, man?
I made it as hard as I could, but these guys played it so much. They played it a lot more than I did, and I wrote the damn program. But they would get like within a tenth of a foot of the landing site. They played it so much. But the Divo and the assistant navigator, who was a lieutenant commander, were lamenting why this green screen had these big black marks on the monitor.
Yeah, no way of dodging that one. I didn't do anything. Nope. I don't know what it is. Nope.
Hang on. Let me see if
I
I
just
can
need a
find
big
it.
I was in the office. I was in the office one work day.
Jared,
I was in the office one work day, and the assistant navigator, what's wrong with this screen? I
just start
tucked
laughing.
my head and walked out.
Bird.
So
Bird, you should have looked at it and said, "Sir, are you playing video games on your computer?"
Well, so even when I was in, they cut down hard on the programs that you could actually have running on the computer. I take it Dark Spartan was from you, Skeptic?
Which Dark Spartan? What? No, probably not. What was the question?
Well, no, that's what I was asking, because the name Dark Spartan just popped up and it disappeared before I could click allow. There it goes. Hey, it's Squirrel. That's probably what it was.
Oh yeah, little croc squirrel. What's going on, man?
Squirrel. So,
hey,
I have to step away for about 10 to 15 minutes and go get me some whiskey for tonight's side strike.
Oh yeah, go for it. You're going to need it.
I told you, I've been. Huh?
You know what, Skeptic? I wish I had it right now. I wish I had that kind of money. I don't. I can't.
You don't have any whiskey? There's a store. I'm sure there's a store close by you. There's got to be some kind of fucking exchange that you can go get you a package.
Well, but
of
Well, I don't even need one. I don't even need that. I can go to the grocery store and get what I want, assuming I can afford to give them what they want for it, which I can't.
yeah,
Well,
that's
I'll
the
be
biggest
right
thing.
back, guys.
But all right, so what I was saying
I have
is,
to ask: is Lord Crocosquirrel a play on King Crocoduck?
No, it is not, sir. It is not, sir. Actually, believe it or not, I found the picture in there and said, "Ooh, a crocodile squirrel. I like it. Let's do that." And then I learned about King Crocodile.
That is intensely original, and I salute you, sir.
It's an entirely different clade.
Does,
the sad part
although
of
that it does look like a moose.
Roku, shut up.
King Crocodile was actually made aware of me before I was
What was that?
but so what we were talking about before, the when they cut down on the programs you could actually install on the computers. Of course, it's the ATs who find out the workaround. We actually, a few of us took the time and we actually programmed a few of the more simple computer games to run through either Excel or PowerPoint.
Yes, we did.
PowerPoint.
Yeah.
And I still have some of them.
Well,
It's funny because
I imagine that you still have a terminal, right? So you could run DOS programs.
Oh yeah,
yes,
I
we ran DOS
Yeah.
programs back then.
Doom.
And
No,
it's funny
all you
because
did,
they
as long as you have some sort of a shell, you can run any DOS game you want.
Yeah. It would be easy to just stick Doom in there and go crazy.
Back then, yes, but they started going through the DOS shell around 2005. Yeah, 2005, because it was in 2004 someone figured out how to run an emulator to start playing Unreal Tournament on the computers at work when I was in Florida. That lasted a couple months.
Nice.
where in Florida? Miramar?
No, Jacksonville.
You know what they? You know what I did?
Okay.
You know what I? The first time they tried cracking down on that was in 1990, in 1993 or 1994, and I meant and we all put our heads together and got a workaround. We could play any video game we wanted. But our first one, of course, was Might and Magic, the original Might and Magic. Oh, that was hilarious.
You know
I thought Nukes played that.
You know the Seawolf class submarine.
Yep.
Super advanced submarine. I served on there from what is it? 03 to 05. The ship's diving computer was run on Windows 3.1.
Ooh.
Oh, hey.
But it never crashes.
Oh,
Well, they had to cut back money somewhere on that project.
yeah, no shit.
I forget which
Yeah, we
version.
never had a blue screen, so.
I forget which version one of the computers in the machine that I support and help ensure continues to run works on, but the processor is a 485.
Nice.
Oh,
And it works. All it's running is it's the commands to it's basic mechanical commands. That's it. So it's being used essentially as a glorified PLC. But it fucking works.
I don't recall.
Well, hey, the Stinger.
Gentlemen, I somehow I'm racking my brains here and do not recall an 80485. Are you referring to the 80486?
Or 365? I mean, I remember the weapons terminals we used in the air defense for Stinger missiles. The weapons terminal that was on a 386. Maybe even a 286. I can't remember right now, actually, but it was. I mean, honestly, it wasn't slow, but it
was
worked.
that, Bob?
In '96.
96.
In fact,
it was probably at 386. A 286 might be a little much for like really good calculations for fire, unless it had math coprocessor on board.
Yeah, I think I stuck some photos in Discord for it, or I shared it last time I was on. A tripod, a stinger tripod, and you saw a little glimpse of the weapons terminal.
Yeah,
I mean it was.
Y'all,
Oh, it was crappy though.
y'all and your fancy computers.
Well, here's the fun part. You could probably alongside your control software, you probably could have run any text adventure you wanted.
Yeah.
Well,
the most advanced stuff you could do with it, besides what you should be doing with it, is just play chess over the radio with it with the guys at the battery central or the radar room.
That HT 9000 series I just posted over in Discord, that's what we use to compute SVPs. Sound velocity profiles.
That's sexy as hell with a built-in printer.
I have a question for
and
you.
a 5
What the hell is an SVP, and why do I not remember it?
What was that?
What is an SVP, and why do I not know anything about it?
SVP, sound velocity profile.
That would be why, because I wasn't dealing in anything of the sort.
Yeah, pretty much. Unless you were an FT or a STS, you're not going to really.
Yeah, I don't. I'm very my ignorance. I had no idea what you were talking about.
Hey guys, with your permission, I will bow out for the night because otherwise I'm going to get hit in the head.
I can't imagine why you need our authorization to bow out there, Schrodinger.
I got to keep the wife happy.
Well,
at least
you don't need our. You don't need our.
Tell the wife to get online. We want to hear more stories about you.
Yeah, the nasty stuff.
Call every emergency service that you can think of.
Yeah. A hard line with the EMS services. That's a good idea.
Yeah. I'm in extreme danger, except not really. But I'll be back next Friday. Be good, guys.
All right, see you then, man.
I'm out too.
Take care, man.
Take care.
Indeed.
You know, in the old days, the early days of the space shuttle, they had those horrible 64K computers.
Yes.
And, when they started doing more advanced missions, they needed more memory. So NASA adapted some laptops, and they called them shuttle portable onboard computers.
Yep.
Well, with a fancy name, they're awesome. Doesn't matter if they actually do the job, as long as they have the awesome name.
The acronym was SPOC.
Yeah.
Did you say live long and prosper, Spock?
SPOC, Spock.
Nice.
Shuttle portable onboard computers.
Well, it wouldn't be hard to believe. I mean, the space shuttle Enterprise, that was named after the Starship Starship Enterprise. So, yeah, why not? Oh yeah.
What's Yoda's commissioned ship in the Navy? U.S.
The Constitution.
Good old Ironsides. She's only about an hour, 25-minute drive from my house right now. I will give New England that. The living history up in this area is definitely a bonus. It is enjoyable. But some of the attitudes of people around here is like, really? just fucking get over yourself.
We have tons of history out of Virginia.
So how old is the Constitution then?
What was that, Alan?
How old is the? Is it? Did you say the Constitution
Yes.
is your
The
oldest?
Constitution. She is, if I remember, if memory serves, she's been continuously in service since she was first launched, and I forget exactly when that was.
17.
So the revolution.
No, it was shortly after the revolution. It was 1780 or 1790 something.
Something like that. But if you go
I'm
there
not quite as
on,
old as the Royal Navy is one thing.
She was originally. She was originally.
I got it within 25 years, having not studied it forever.
Well, if you go there, every Friday at 3 p.m. is the flogging exhibition.
Oh, that does not surprise me.
You know, when did the Navy outlaw flogging?
No, so I was right. 1797. That was the year that I thought she was launched.
I wasn't 100% sure. I wasn't sure if she was launched in 77, 78, or 77, 87 or 97. It was one of those three, and I couldn't put my hand on. I couldn't put my nose on exactly which one it was.
When did the Navy outlaw flogging?
Officially or unofficially?
Oh yeah, that's a good one. Unofficially, never. Officially, I'm gonna say 1918.
How about
No,
1850?
I think, if I remember correctly, it was like 1846, and it was just like a clause in the National Navy, what do you call it, Defense Act or whatever.
But the unofficial bit, they just they changed the term from flogging to hazing.
Yeah, no shit.
Yeah,
Then they outlawed that. They outlawed that in the late 80s, and it still goes on.
No,
so they
hazing went out
say.
a long time ago. But
Okay, guys.
I'd rather be hazed than flogged.
Yeah, like I never had my dolphins tacked on officially, right?
It was in. When did the Marine Corps outlaw beating recruits?
Not until after Vietnam.
No, it was before. I think it was 1958. 57 or 58. Marine Corps drill instructors were not allowed to touch recruits.
Okay,
So they turned
explained that
to,
to my company commander from boot camp. All right, guys, got a link for you on the whole flogging thing. It was September the 28th of 1850.
18 what?
50.
50. Oh, sweet. I was only off by a few years.
Yeah, it was 1850. I actually stopped. I remembered 1850 from officers training, but I could not. I had to come up with something that would actually that I could point to. And of course, that gave me the exact day. I figure the Naval History blog knows more than we do.
Well, yeah.
When do they outlaw buggery?
What? Buggery?
I can't even. I used to know what that means, but I can't for the life of me recall it right now.
Mass rape, butt sex.
Oh, sodomy.
Yeah.
You guys have never heard of buggery. Only Squirrel knew about buggery.
The Brits heard of it.
Actually, the British, the British
still practice it.
The British actually
Careful.
put together a thing called the Buggery Act of 1533. It was illegal from that point forward. Yes.
Are you just making that up? Because that's too funny.
No. I realize that this is not going to be considered a definitive source, but there you go.
1553.
1533. I figure if I go down to the citations, I might actually even come up with a text to it. So technically, buggery was illegal the entire time. And since since the United States naval tradition follows very closely the British naval tradition, I figure it's going to be very close to the same. I don't think buggery was ever legal in the United States Navy. Mind you, if it happens, nobody gives a shit.
It's one of those. It was one of those UCMJ acts that they would tack on if they could, if you had already done something else.
Well, but the UCMJ still has an article about dueling.
Realizing, of course, there's the UCMJ, you could be court-martialed for breathing in and out.
Yeah.
What?
Yep.
Oh yeah, the UCMJ has some crazy fucking shit in it, and also
that's beyond micromanagement.
Well, Bo, here's a question for you.
Wait, Squirrel, what did you say? The UCMJ outlaws what?
The UCMJ, you could be court-martialed under the Uniform Code of Military Justice for breathing.
Disrespect.
Article 134.
Disrespect of
there it is.
The general, whatever the fuck we want to tag on.
Whatever the hell we want to
catch-all.
Yeah.
Whatever the hell we want to nail you for, it doesn't matter.
But so, Bo, here's a question for you: as a military member in your country, if you break the law, are you punished by the civilian court, the military court, or both?
Both. That's an easy one. No, as long as the country is not in a state of war, it's civil.
Only
if I'm on back when I was a conscript, we had to take turns being guarding the military barracks.
Mm-hmm.
If we fucked up there, it will still be dealt with in civil courts.
A civil matter? Okay. Okay.
Yeah, it would still be a civil matter.
The reason why I ask is because in the United States, as an active duty or active reservist, when you are suspect to the Uniform Code of Military Justice, double jeopardy does not apply, which means you can be punished for the same crime both in the civilian courts and the military court.
Well, actually, technically, it's not double jeopardy because it's two different crimes just from the same act.
Right.
Yeah.
That just doesn't.
But that being said, the civilian court doesn't get you, a military court will. I guarantee it.
Yeah. But that just doesn't make any sense whatsoever. If you do one crime, you can get charged and convicted for that one crime done. You cannot get. How could you?
No one's claiming it makes sense.
So here's how the U.S. military handles that, because this actually happened frequently in Florida. Shocking, due to people having a charge for driving under the influence. So the way it would work is they would have their civilian punishment for the DUI offense, but also because they would be incarcerated, the military would get them for the DUI, but also being unauthorized absence, or if it was long enough, AWOL, and whatever else they could throw the book at them for.
And actually, how it would usually work was this too: is that they would get their DUI, they would do their court, they would get their sentence, they would serve their time for the civilian part of the sentence. The military would wait to pick them up as soon as they got relief.
So one thing that I do know is that on military grounds, certainly if it's a closed off area with fences and all that, the police have no power within the fence. But the military police can easily give you a speeding ticket. It would be the exact same speeding tickets that the police would have given you, but it would be given by the military police.
And
we have that on base.
Yeah, we have that.
Even better, you would be subject to Article 15 at the very minimum.
No, probably not, because we don't have that.
Well,
But the-
Article 15 for us is a non-judicial punishment. So administrative punishment with no court.
Yep.
But how it's pretty much like we do have enforcement.
You done fucked up, boy. And that's and then we can issue you what is it? 30 days, 30 days extra duty, 30 days without pay, reduction in rank,
45.
or 45 days. You're right, 45 for.
Yeah,
Well,
45,
it would be the
45,
same
half month pay times 2 is the most Article 15 can do.
Half pay times 2 and reduction to rank by 1 grade.
Yep.
So you get a choice. Then.
For your next grade, you go and appear in Article 15. You're not only are you going to be defrocked, but you will also get screwed out of the rank that you were at because you arrived there at the rank that you were at.
Yeah, so
3 days bread and water is also an option.
yeah, if they confine you.
You know what? I've never. I've seen innumerable masks. I've actually presided over a couple of them. I've never seen that happen.
But it is an option. It's just not often utilized.
The frigate I was on in the reserves, some dirtbag got caught stealing. The captain was there at captain's mast, and the guy says, "I request 3 days bread and water." And the captain said, "Done." And this guy came back. He said, "I should have taken the 45 days."
Oh yeah, because it's 3 days of solitary confinement.
It's not Wonder Bread.
Nope, it's not Wonder Bread, and it ain't. Like I said, I actually talked with often with a guy who used to work down in the brig, and they are not even allowed to talk to the prisoners other than to give them orders on how to move. That is it.
Yeah.
So it is solitary confinement.
Bonkers.
Yeah.
Oh, no thanks.
That'd be fine with me. I hate humans.
There have been a couple. There have been a couple times I wish somebody would tell me to get the fuck in the hole and stay there for 3 days.
Yeah.
There were times. I'm telling you, there were times there were some people I had to deal with. I didn't want to. I wanted no part of those fuckers. Period. Ever.
20 years in the submarine service.
My condolences.
3 days solitary confinement. I did pretty much
3 days solitary confinement. You can do that shit on your head.
5 years.
So the question just came up in the
live chat.
In the live chat. Who is winning the soccer game tomorrow, Germany or Sweden? My response.
Neither.
Well,
my response.
Sweden's.
My response: is it possible for both to lose?
Well, Sweden's neutral, so what are they going to do? Did you guys watch what's that guy, that mathematician, Matt Parker? Matt Parker? He's doing you know, those stupid is your pet psychic thing. He set up a website where you can register your pet, and you have to do some random thing of how your pet responds to whatever, fetching a ball with the name of the team on it or whatever. But, yeah, check out Matt Parker, and he's trying to get over 1,000 people, because get over 1,000 people, and there's gonna be one pet that's gonna accurately predict who's gonna win the World Cup.
Yeah, statistically speaking, one of them's got to get it right.
Yeah, like that Paul the Octopus.
Yeah,
you know what I'd have to do? I'd have to, honestly, if I want to do something like that, I'd have to break out the catnip bottles.
Yeah, well, get to it, and then register on that website.
See, here's the problem. My wife's cat gives no fucks about the World Cup. She don't care. The only way to get
it is football, so.
Well, it is a cat. And cats
football.
only care about food and the occasional attention when they want it.
And one more thing, world domination.
Shh, we're not supposed to know about that.
How often is the World Cup?
4 years.
Annually?
4 years.
I thought it was an annual thing. I thought it was just like
World Series or something.
I may be thinking.
No, you're thinking the UEFA, the Champions League.
You know what? Honestly, I don't care. You know, the number of fucks I give about most sports is in the negative somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, the only sports I care about are the ones I do myself.
Or if it's curling and there's some good-looking chicks in there. It doesn't happen all that much. But...
That and beach volleyball. The Summer Olympic beach volleyball.
Yeah.
I'm so sad we don't have the climate for that in Denmark.
Yeah.
It'd be nice.
I wouldn't call it, that shouldn't be in the Summer Olympics. That should be in the soft porn Olympics.
Wait! Isn't that what all of the women's events in the Olympics are?
No, the gymnastics.
Oh, that's true.
Women's gymnastics.
Yeah,
I was
fucking amazing.
Yeah, but
the only problem with women's gymnastics that I have is a lot of your top talent is only 14 or 15 years old.
Yeah, underage. Yeah, they say that's why China won the gymnastics events. What was it, 2 or 3 Olympics ago? Some of those girls are like 13. They're supposed to be 15.
Yeah,
minimum. But China
they
cheated.
cheat with the ages. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, this gets better because it was increased from 15 to 18.
Wow.
When was that?
This just after the last Olympics in Rio.
Yeah.
Probably
the IOC through that.
Probably because too much debauchery at the athletes' village.
I know, right? What's up with that? No, you want some, you know what? I think we should get beach volleyball in a slightly warmer area during the Winter Olympics. If you're gonna
you want them pointing at people then?
Well, no. See, here's the thing. They can do volleyball in both because they do have indoor volleyball. There's more players, but they are still just as scantily clad.
Well, yeah, I mean, but I agree with Squirrel. I agree with.
If you guys want the Port Olympics, couple ice skating every freaking time.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
like, guys, hey, get a room.
I agree with Squirrel on
the luge. If you're
oh god, were you watching frickin' Robin Williams live on Broadway recently?
If by recently you mean about 3 years ago, yeah, I remember it.
Well, that would be technically recently. Hard right, motherfucker, hard right.
You know, what kind of drunken German kind of college came with that fucking sport, huh? That's it.
I agree with Squirrel about the beach.
I want to take an ice cream up my ass and go barreling down an ice chute.
Well, yeah, the one problem with beach volleyball is you don't get to see any hard nipples.
Why do you think I said put it on during the Winter Olympics?
Oh, did you say that? I didn't hear you.
That's exactly what I said.
Okay.
You put it on during the Winter Olympics, and you know the girls will all come out to play.
Okay, well, we're on the same page.
Well, if there was a chance of me being monetized, we lost it.
Every female member of the audience we might have had. I know for a fact I just turned them all off this, but you know what? It was so funny.
But here's the thing. Honestly, if they're watching this show, they have to have some sort of military or veteran connection. And honestly, a lot of the women have dirty senses of humor. So those
It does come with the territory, regardless of the sex.
Oh yeah, and actually, speaking of, I was
one thing the genders are absolutely equal.
I was gonna mention this earlier if it wasn't for the technical issues, but I came across a channel that is actually not just a YouTube channel. They actually don't even show most of their material on YouTube, but it's called Vet TV. It is run by, written by, performed by ex-combat veterans of the U.S. military. And holy shit, is it fucking awesome. Horrible sense of humor. Like, dark shit. Like, the fucked up shit that is joked about while on deployment. But they're on the screen.
It's not too sexist, is it?
It is the same. It is the same humor from deployment.
Yeah, okay, I'll pass.
See, you see, here's the thing. I probably wouldn't want to watch that. Why? Because I already know all those jokes.
Oh,
at least all the ones from the late 20th century.
Well, the way they have it set up is their actually target demographic is the post 9/11 combat vet. And because when the guy, I saw an interview with the guy who founded it, and he put it exactly right, is that the military of the U.S. from the post 9/11 world, we haven't lost. We've gone in, we have fucked shit up, we've gone in, done the mission, got done in essentially record fashion, with a big ego, laughing and joking the entire time. So it really put a different slant on it compared to prior generations. And that's what he's bringing to light, is that whole almost demystifying how veterans are, that no, we're not pious, we're not clean spoken, we're not the consummate professionals the entire time. Yes, we can be like that, but we're not.
Now, here's a rule of thumb that I usually wind up having to go by. It goes something like this: if your unit is inspection ready, they're gonna fall apart in combat. If they're combat ready, an inspection is pointless.
Yeah.
Because they won't pass. Ever. It will not happen.
But see, that's where I actually didn't see a problem with the aviation support side of the readiness testing and inspections that we had. Because if you could pass the inspection, you were doing your job, and you could do the job no matter what. So they actually made it a, practical type of inspection in that manner.
I used to do the same thing with my people, and we were some of the scruffiest looking critters you'd ever find. But damn, we were effective. The guys that had everything all spit polish and everything, no. Those guys fell apart faster than a tumbleweed under a car. Okay.
Hey, Bubbleheads. What was your favorite inspection, TRE or ORST?
For me, it didn't really matter.
I didn't care.
Being an AV, I didn't have a whole lot to do with much of either one.
You didn't have anything to do with TRE?
No, not really.
Were you cranking at the time?
I was in E4, ET3 at the time. I wasn't even qualified quartermaster of the watch yet.
Yeah, okay, that explains it.
And for battle stations missile for us, I was atmosphere control, atmosphere monitoring for the casualty teams. So I really didn't have to do much of anything.
Yeah.
You had nothing to do, really.
Hey, Jared, did my brother get off?
Yeah, he left.
You'll have to ask him. We didn't ask.
I was thinking about it, but I didn't want to. But okay.
One of us was going there. I just wasn't sure which one of us it was.
Oh, yeah, someone was gonna say it. I just.
Everybody was gonna say it. I was just first.
Pretty much, yeah. Because I know every one of us fuckers in here was thinking it. All of us.
Oh, Squirrel, you need to go watch at least the last hour and a half of GeoStrebber's live stream.
Oh dear.
Garrett,
do I want to know what happened there? Do I want to know? Somebody give me a thumbnail or tell me it's funny or I check myself.
You tell him, Bo. Since you were one of the instigators of it.
Trying to forget.
Oh, really? Now I want to know.
Raunchy humor. It was fantastic.
Yeah. We're talking about a mix of German Nazi humor, almost, and a Danish, very dark gallows kind of humor. It was something. Yeah. No, you have to
It sounds like it was something. Somebody got a link for that?
Yeah, someone want to throw it up and.
I've never actually seen Geo's channel, which is a feeling on my part. I should have got this worked out one before, but still, I've seen him on other people's live streams, mostly hanging out with Red.
Yeah, Geo's cool as fuck.
Everybody
that I've met in that group except Jared is pretty cool.
Yeah, fuck you too.
When GeoStrebber with Anthony Riley and
he's called Riley, please.
Please refer to him by his proper name.
Like they're going back and forth over angular diameter versus angular degrees or whatever.
Oh, that one.
And what's like, and Riley's talking about the sum of some shit, and like, but pissed me off was like, GeoStrebber never nailed him down on what the unit of measure was. I'm listening to that fucking live hangout and just yelling into my phone, fucking bring up the goddamn unit of measure. You two are talking past each other.
Well, I get the impression that he's trying to do something else entirely. I think I know what Geo was up to.
He was up to.
Correctly, he was waiting for dude to hang himself.
Well, you can't unless you bring up what unit of measure you're talking about. They both sound like babbling idiots. I mean, I love Geo's work most of the time, but it never occurred to him to bring up the unit of measure.
Now, granted, that was
degrees or feet.
Now, granted, that was an earlier hangout of Geo's. He has gotten more direct about those things because even he is starting to lose patience with them.
Good.
What? Who has patience with those people? Seriously.
Did he bring up compression of the eye?
That was about the dumbest fucking anybody could have brought up when that guy brought up. Well, you're not talking about the compression of the eye. That doesn't matter. You can't measure that.
There's no such fucking thing.
Yeah. What person has ever said?
Of the eye.
What scientist has ever said this is irrefutable proof that my eye says that this is the way it is? You know, nobody does that shit. They take fucking pictures with cameras that don't have eye compressions on them, whatever the fuck you wanted to call it.
What
fucking
the fuck
dumbass.
is compression of the eye?
Yeah, no shit.
Incorporate that into any fucking formula and show us your work.
Oh, that's what Jism tried to do on Reds, and holy fuck. Oh my